Nothing drains your confidence faster than inconsistent results. But what if you are experiencing these highs and lows, and it's not really a lack of talent on your end, but there is something that's keeping you from connecting with your clients? And it comes down to clarity. If you are pitching, if you are messaging your product, your service, your offer, and it's not connecting with people, it's actually working against you. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about all of these highs and lows, why your marketing feels like a roller coaster. We're going to look at a simple fix for how to have a clear and concise marketing message. So often we actually start to run out and start changing things just to see what we can do to help stop the low dips that we experience in our business. And so we'll go out, we'll start changing our pricing, we'll change our website, we'll change even our pitch to how we communicate with our customers. But all of those efforts really don't seem to stick. You just lose that traction trying to connect. And here's the reality. The results aren't random. The results are because of an inconsistent message. So if your message keeps shifting and your clients are trying to keep up and they really don't understand what is going on with you, they're going to bounce. They're not going to hang around to see what's happening with you. They're going to try to find a solution elsewhere. But we don't want that to happen. We don't want unstable marketing to work against us. But the clear fix is a clear direction. As business owners, entrepreneurs, content creators, we know that we can do the work. We've actually been doing the work, and we've been consistent and persistent in doing the work. We've solved real problems. But there is that one problem that we keep facing that's so unpredictable. It's our messaging, and it's not that we aren't trying hard enough. We are, but our message may not be focused on the right thing. You see, I think most of the time we may not necessarily realize it, but we're focused on trying to have the customer help us instead of us helping the customer. And when we shift our focus to the problem of our customer, of our clients, and look at what they are trying to solve, then we can hone in, we can focus in, and we can bring that clarity of what we have to offer to suit and to solve their problem. People don't buy products, they actually buy relief from the pain that they are experiencing. There's actually 3 levels of pain that I wanted to share with you. And maybe you have heard of these, or maybe these sound really familiar to you. But let's take a look at these 3 levels of pain. The very first one that we have is external. This is the first level of pain. My business is stalling and I don't know why. This is what we can see that's happening out in front of us, what the customer is seeing. Hey, this is what's going on, and I'm confused by it. I see something is happening, and it's painful to me. This is the external. The next level of pain is the internal. So this is where it moves from that external pain to inside. Now it's getting personal. And this is where we start to feel it. And this is where I can feel overwhelmed, behind, and even unsure of who to trust. Now this is starting to mess with us. This actually levels up the pain a lot of times. So we move from that external pain that we see to that internal pain. And then the last kind of pain that's there, the next level, is philosophical. And this pain messes in our mind. We struggle with this kind of pain. I shouldn't have to work this hard, and I still feel stuck. This is the battle of the mind. This is where we see the pain, and we start to internalize the pain, and then we start to think about the pain. It's consuming us. And we get frustrated. We don't know how to actually fix the pain problem. If your message doesn't actually speak to this pain, then your offer, whatever your product or service, is not actually going to feel relevant. But when you start to connect with the struggle that they are experiencing and you start listening, actively listening to what they are saying, then you can start crafting your message. Now, the goal is not to be clever, but the goal is to be clear in what you say. When we are clear in what we say, then we can start building the trust to our clients, and then they can start trusting us with their money to help fix the problem that they're trying to solve. I want to give you this client clarity checklist. There's several items here that I want to encourage you to go through before you start crafting whatever your message is going to be, whether that's in an email, if that's going to be on a social post, if that's going to be on a website. These are the questions that you need to answer, and answer them with clarity so that you can have a clear message. So the first checklist item is, who am I helping specifically? This is where you want to ask, who is my audience? Who is my client that I'm actually trying to reach? Be specific on who this person is. Think about some of the values that they have, some of the things that are common probably to you that you can relate with. The next one is, what are they frustrated with right now? What is that pain point that they are experiencing? Write that down and ask yourself, what is that big problem that they are trying to solve? Be clear on that problem. The more that you can be clear and understand that problem, the better you will be able to approach the solution or offer the solution to that problem. The next question is, what keeps them stuck? There's some type of obstacle that's in the way, so you know who they are, you know the problem, but what is keeping them back from actually experiencing the relief for that problem? How do we get the problem solved? But what's that barrier? That's one of the things, that's actually an objection that you may have to address whenever you message. The next one is, what's keeping them stuck? This is actually a powerful question to ask, because this is identifying what is that obstacle from them taking that next step. They've got that pain, they know it, they can see it, they've internalized it, they've thought about it, but what is holding them back from actually getting the solution, getting the relief to that pain? These are the things that you need to identify. This is such a powerful question, because you may have to help the client understand how you can overcome that objection and be able to move past that obstacle. The next one is, what's the result they really want? This is the end goal. This is where taking them from where they are to where they want to be. Now, how do you find this out? You're going to have to start asking questions. And actually, with all of these clarity checkpoints, you will have to ask a lot of questions to get that clarity for these answers. But what's the result that they finally want? What is that transformation, again, to take them from where they are to where they want to be? Be clear on that transformation, because that's what you can pitch to them as the end result of what your product or service can offer. The next one is, what is the cost of staying stuck? Okay, this is a little bit of a different angle, because now we're actually elevating the stakes. What's at stake here? What's on the line that if you stay where you are and you're not able to move to where you want to be, that desired end goal, that desired transformation, what's it going to mean? What's it going to mean for you tomorrow, in the next month, in the next year, the next 10 years? This is where you can start to stack and have this conversation with them and just point out, level up that awareness of like, hey, this is something that can be solved. We can look to work on this. But what happens if you just stay there? What's going to happen to you? What is that going to mean? How is that going to impact you? Now, this might sound a little negative, but that's okay. This is just you trying to help build up and explain to them what is at stake. The last one is, how does my offer, my product, my service give them progress? So this is where you can lay out a simple plan of how you're going to take them from where they are to their desired effect. And this process that you have, what using your product or utilizing your service, these are the things, these are the steps to get them to where they are going to be. So let's take a look at some questions that you might have with this clarity checklist. What if I don't know who my ideal client is yet? Okay, so this is where you're going to have to dig in and start asking those clarity questions. This should be a prompt to help you identify. If you don't know the who, then you can't answer the why. Why should they listen to you? Why should they use your product or service? You have to start with the who. So it's okay. Your clarity is going to come with experience and your own growth in your business. So you do want to have some sort of information, some sort of way to collect information on who your ideal client is. Start asking your friends, maybe some trusted sources of who they think your ideal client is, customer is, if you're really not that sure. I feel like I say the same thing over and over. Okay, that's kind of the point, because once you have your clarity statement or statements of who you are, what you have to offer, understanding the client's pain, where they are, where they want to be, yes, you are going to repeat yourself, but that repetition actually turns into recognition. People understand the message, they're going to understand you. And once they understand you, they're going to start to build that trust. How do I talk about pain without sounding negative? This is an interesting question, because you can look at it as something negative, but you're actually invoking empathy. The more that you can empathize with a client, actually being willing to understand their pain, getting in there and actually coming alongside them and walking in their shoes, as the saying goes, really putting yourself into that position, that shows that they're not in it alone, that you understand, and that you coming alongside them actually offers hope. I only have one service or product. What do I say every day? So this is an interesting question, and this is a fun question. Okay, it's always going to start with that clear message, but then you can look at how you can talk about that message in different ways. This is where you can start to introduce different stories, maybe personal testimonies as part of how you are marketing your message, your product or service. You can look at it from different angles. You can actually look at it from answering objections that people may have, maybe tackling some of those barriers that people are experiencing. All of those things combined, you can even talk about transformation of what the client is going to experience once they have that one service or product that you offer. Talk about it, look at it in a bunch of different ways. Think about let me give you a quick analogy. If you were going to purchase a car, whenever you go onto a car dealership site, you're going to see multiple angles of that same car. So think in your mind, here's my clarity statement, here's my clarity message. I need to take multiple angles, multiple ways to present that same message. Some are going to connect faster than others, but that's okay. This is a way that you can change your angle, your approach every day in saying the same thing. What if my audience isn't engaging at all? Okay, this is feedback. If there's silence, then you need to take a step back and refine your clarity message. You need to evaluate what your clarity message is. Perhaps there's something still not specific enough, and it needs to be problem-centered in your message. Look at the problem that your customer is facing. Talk about the problem so you can offer the solution. How do I stay authentic while selling? Selling can be off-putting a lot of times. When we think about selling, we've been sold to, and there's probably a few times that you can look back and look at how somebody was trying to sell something to you and they were pressuring you to make a purchase, and that was off-putting. You just wanted to run away, go off in a different direction, leave me alone, I'm out of here. But whenever you lead with your agenda, that's what selling is going to be turned into something that's off-putting. We don't want to do that. We need to lead with the client's agenda. And then selling actually turns into more of a persuasion. Selling is not necessarily this dirty word or this word that has a lot of negative wrapped around it. Selling is actually just the transaction part, just the helping part of getting that person from where they are and offering them the solution to where they want to be. So we are actually making the case, we are persuading them, answering those objections, looking at the problem and looking at the final result, the payoff. This is the persuasion of what we can do while being authentic in our selling. What if I'm still building my business? And this is great because if you are brand new and you're still getting things together and you're about to launch, this is the perfect time for you to launch with clarity. So go ahead, look around, start building, start asking those questions. This isn't the time to polish everything and to refine. This is really just the foundational work to get you onto that launch pad in a clear direction, and you start with clarity. What can I do today to move forward? This is such a great question because this is where you are starting to make that mind shift of not looking at your agenda, but actually your client's agenda. So let me encourage you to take a moment to write down and describe your client's pain. What is that strongest point of pain that they are experiencing? And be specific on it, be detailed in it. Then you can invite your clients to just take that one step, just that one step to get closer to relieving that pain that you offer. That's where you can start to move forward yourself with your clear marketing message. If your marketing feels unstable, it's not an indication that you're failing. It's just really a sign that you need to bring in clarity. Because when you clarify the problem, your offer then becomes the obvious solution. Hey, let me know in the comments below, what clarity question have you actually put into use? And while you're there, be sure to check out the link because I got a free resource, a template that you can download to help craft your clarity message. Remember to speak clearly, invite consistently, and lead confidently.